I'm Esther Zeidman, Sharsheret board member. And I'd like to welcome you to Sharsheret's Long Island Barbecue and Siyum. A special welcome and thank you to Suzanne and Barry Gurvitch for allowing us to commemorate their mothers, Sandy Berkowitz A Shalom and Ellin Gurvitch A Shalom. Thank you to Riva Goldschmiedt for completing the Siyum in their memory, as well as in the memory of his grandmother, Lisbeth Goldschmidt, Lana Bat Yehuda HaKohen, whose yahrzeit is tonight. Suzanne and Barry are leaders in our community, with Barry serving as the president of Congregation Beth Shalom. In their unassuming manner, they embody the words midot, chesed, and community service. Also, thank you to our special guest speaker, Riva Goldschmiedt, who will be speaking later this evening. I would also like to welcome Senator Todd Kaminsky and thank him so much for coming. A special thank you to both of our event underwriters, ChemRx and Maidenbound Property Tax Reduction Group, as well as all of our sponsors, devoted host committee and event committee for making tonight such a success. We are so thankful to each and every one of you for joining us to help spread Sharsheret's vital message. Thank you to Sharsheret's incredible staff, especially Long Island's own Rebecca Cohen, whose tireless efforts have made today's such a great success, and without whom this event would not be happening. And to Prestige, Spencer and Risa, for helping make tonight so beautiful and delicious while alleviating so much of our stress. Please join me in acknowledging my colleagues on the Sharsheret boards that are here tonight, Medical Advisory Board Member Dr. Karen Gams, and board members Lauren Weiser and Alyssa Zaga, who came from very far away. It is thanks to you, our guests, our incredible volunteers, and our hard-working and devoted team that Sharsheret has become the leading breast and ovarian cancer-focused Jewish organization in the United States. With 5 offices across the country, last year alone, more than 3,500 women of all backgrounds reached out to Sharsheret for support, and more than 150,000 people have been educated in local communities and on college campuses around the country. I would now like to call upon Suzanne and Barry Gurvitch to give all of us the opportunity to share in the life and love of their special moms they lost too soon.
Good evening, everyone. When Rebecca Cohen and Esther Zeidman first reached out to me about being part of tonight's program, my first reaction was to say no. You see, it has always been difficult for me to speak about my mother, Sandy Berkowitz, Zechrona Livracha, and her battle with breast cancer, let alone to talk about it in front of hundreds of people. But after I had a chance to think about their request, it occurred to me how much it would have helped my mother if Sharsheret was around when she could have benefited from their services. So if my getting involved in tonight's event would help spread the word, how could I not say yes? My first personal encounter with Sharsheret was 10 years ago, when my sister-in-law, Jamie Gurvitch, was diagnosed with breast cancer. I reached out to Sharsheret on her behalf, and they sprang into action with support. Everything from simply sending her a pillow to feel comfortable after surgery, to introducing her to a social worker to help guide her through this difficult time. They were a godsend for her, and I was duly impressed. As a result, Jamie has become a representative for Sharsheret in South Florida. Since then, All of our children, too, have become involved in Sharsheret fundraising, including Pink Day at Hafter, baking and selling pies for Thanksgiving in Florida, organizing a Pink Day at University of Hartford College campus, as well as walking with Team Sharsheret in the Making Strides race in Central Park. It's funny. In a way, my mother was her own mini Sharsheret. While she was ill, my mother played the role of a counselor to so many other cancer patients, talking with them and offering encouragement as she sat in the waiting room of her doctor's office. She did not dwell on her own illness. My mother became a widow 3 months after her mastectomy, losing the one person who encouraged her the most to think positively, my father. I believe that she channeled her energies by speaking with others about their illnesses, but did not get the counseling and support that she so badly needed. If only Sharsheret had been around back then. My mother, a teacher by profession, was very outgoing, had a great sense of humor, and was friendly to all. She was someone with whom people felt comfortable sharing their problems and from whom they could seek advice. This included mine and my brothers, Stephen and David's friends. Proof of that is the amount of our friends who are here tonight, not so much for me, but for her. While I have not had my mother around throughout most of my adult life to guide me and share life's important moments, I always feel her by my side. She was very strong and someone who I have always strived to emulate. Ironically, while my mother passed away 32 years ago at the age of 52, my husband Barry's mother, Ellin Gurvitch A, also died from breast cancer. She, 38 years ago at the age of 54. She too was a teacher by profession. I have heard numerous times from so many people over the years what a special woman she was. She set an example for us in community involvement by serving as both the sisterhood president of the Young Israel of Oceanside and PTA president of HALB. She has the reputation of being a friend to all and someone who is so easy to talk to. Barry and his brothers, Ira and Neil's childhood friends, still speak of her lovingly, and some of them are here tonight. While our mothers never met, besides sharing the terrible fate of dying young from breast cancer, they share something much more special: 3 grandchildren. Our son Elijah, who is here tonight, coming in from Camp Marasha, and our twins, Sandy and Ari, who are in Israel. In addition, each of our mothers has the legacy of grandchildren named for them. My stepdaughter, Ellin Gurvitch A, who is here tonight, and our nieces, Ellin Lee Gurvitch and Ellin Alana Gurvitch, who is here tonight as well. Named for my mother are our daughter, Sandy Berkowitz, our niece, Sandy Berkowitz, and our nephew, Sam Berkowitz. I would be remiss if I did not mention other grandchildren of both women, Alexandra, Benjamin, Alex, Allie, Adam, and Jeremy, some of whom are here tonight. A testament to our mothers being so beloved is that even other family members, as well as friends, named children and grandchildren after them. I am honored to be sharing this program with my dear friend, Riva Goldschmiedt. Riva, you are an inspiration to all of us. May you continue to have good health. Thank you, Ellie, for conducting tonight's Siyum in memory of Barry's and my mother. We appreciate it so. On behalf of Barry and myself, thank you to everyone who came out tonight in support of Sharsheret, as well as to honor the memory of our mothers. Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne and Barry. So, thank you, Suzanne, for your inspiring words. I know. And for supporting, and thank you for your support. Ellin Gurvitch, will you please now lead the Siyum?
Good evening, everyone. I'd first like to thank the Sharsheret organization for giving me the opportunity to make tonight's Siyum. Before I begin, I'd like to mention that the Siyum is in memory of Sandy Berkowitz, mother of Suzanne Gurvitch and Ellin Gurvitch, mother of Barry Gurvitch. I'd also like to acknowledge that tonight and tomorrow is the 17th yahrzeit of my paternal grandmother, Riva Goldschmiedt, Lana Bat Yehuda HaKohen, herself a breast cancer survivor. She was a very big part of my life, and I had her in mind throughout my learning of Masechet Chagiga. I'd also like to thank Riva. Were it not for her, there's pretty much zero chance I'd be up here tonight. Riva, you continue to motivate me, and I'm so proud of what you've overcome this past year. Speaking of motivating, when I told Riva that I'd do the Siyum, she said, "Are you sure? You're not really a learner. Let's just ask my brother Ari to do it." And my father's first reaction was, this is a very big responsibility. Everyone there will be relying on you to have a Seudat mitzvah. It's a big deal. So to my dad and to Riva, well played. But I would like to thank my father, who was close to finishing his 4th Daf Yomi cycle, Rabbi Aaron Feigenbaum, and Rabbi Shmuel Wise for their help throughout the past 5 weeks. I was, however, a bit offended at how many soy dogs and veggie burgers were ordered when the caterer found out that I was doing the Siyum. So Masechet Chagiga primarily deals with the 3 different sacrifices that men must offer on the Shalosh Regalim. Olat Reah, which is burnt entirely on the Mizbeach. Shalmei Chagiga, a peace offering which is eaten by the individual bringing it, his family, and the Kohanim. And Shalmei Simcha, which is a korban brought solely to rejoice in the spirit of the holiday and is eaten by the person bringing it and his family. The first 2 prakim, Hakol Chayavin and Ein Dorshin, deal with the sources and the rules of the korbanot. The third and last parak, Chomer Bakodesh, deals with the Tuma and Tahara, specifically dealing with the ways that Jews can purify and prepare themselves to be able to bring their korbanot properly. The last 2 pages of Masechet Chagiga deal with the ways that the temple was designed to have substitute kalim, so in the event that they became tamei, they could have backups. All of the kalim that were in the mikdash had to be brought to a mikvah after each of the Shalosh Regalim, aside from the Mizbeach HaZahav, the golden altar, and the Mizbeach HaNechoshet, the bronze altar. The last few lines of Chagiga are statements from different Amoraim, and the Gemara concludes by implying their interpretation to the Mizbeach HaZahav. So I'm going to read the last few lines of the Masechta. Amar Reish Lakish said, Ein or shel Gehenim sholtelet b'foshe Yisrael. Even the sinners of Israel, the Jews that rightfully deserve to go to Gehenim, still the fires of Gehenim can't rule over them. How do we know this? Kal v'chomer mimizbeach hazahav. It's a kal v'chomer from the Mishnah earlier in this daf, from the case of the golden mizbeach. Ma mizbeach hazahav she'ein alav ela ka'ovei dinar zahav kamash shanim ein ha'or sholeted bo. If it's true that the golden mizbeach, which is made out of wood, and all it has to protect it from fires that are burning on it every day is the thin plate of gold that's the thickness of a dinar, the thickness of a coin, and yet we find that over the course of all the years of the mizbeach's use, still the fire wasn't able to get to the wood underneath it and consume it. Poshe Yisrael, shemlayin mitzvot kirimon. So too, even Jews that did sins, but in light of the fact that they are also full of mitzvot, the way a pomegranate is full of seeds. Dichtiv b'pelach harimon rakateach. We see in a pasuk in Shir Hashirim that reads, "Your temples are like a piece of pomegranate." Al tikri rekatech ela rekanin shebach. Don't read it that way. Read it to the word rake, empty. That even your empty, simple ones that do averot, even they too also are full of mitzvot, just like the pomegranate is full of seeds. Alachat kama v'kama. How much more so will all those mitzvot serve to protect the Poshe Yisrael, the sinners of Israel, from the fires of Gehenna? The mitzvot don't seem to just earn a person reward in the next world. The mitzvot will shield him from the fires of Gehenna. Hadran Allah chomer bakodesh uslik Allah masechet chagiga. Hadran Allah masechet chagiga v'hadra chalan. Datan alach masechet chagiga v'data chalan. Lo nitneshe minach masechet chagiga v'lo titneshe minan. Lo ba'alma hadein v'lo ba'alma date. Hadran alach masechet chagiga v'hadra chalan. Datan alach masechet chagiga v'data chalan. Lo nitneshe minach masechet chagiga v'lo nitneshe minan. Lo ba'alma hadein v'lo ba'alma date. Hadran alach masechet chagiga v'hadra chalan. Datan alach masech chagiva dal tachalan. Lo nitneshe minach masech chagiva lo titneshe minan. Lo ba'alma hadain v'lo ba'alma date. Yihir tom v'necha Adonai Eloheinu v'lehei avotenu. Shetehei toratcha emunatenu ba'olam hazeh u'tehei imanu olam haba. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achai bar Papa, Abba Mari bar Papa, Rafram bar Papa, Rachish bar Papa, Surchav bar Papa, Adar bar Papa, Dara bar Papa. Ha'arev na Adonai Eloheinu et divrei toratecha, b'finu v'fifiot amcha beit Yisrael. V'niyeh anachnu v'tetzainu v'tetzei amcha beit Yisrael. Kulanu yudei shmecha u'lamdei toratecha. Me'oivai techachmeni mitzvotecha ki le'olam hili. Ki hili bi tamim b'chukecha leman lo evosh. Le'olam lo eshkach pikudecha ki bam chi itani. Baruch atah Adonai lamdei chukecha. Amen, amen, amen. Sela v'ed. Modim anachnu lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'lei avotenu. Shesamta chalkenim yoshvei be'ed midrash. V'lo samta chalkenim yoshvei karnot. She'anu mashkevim v'hei mashkevim. Anu mashkevim l'divrei Torah v'hei mashkevim l'divrei b'tilim. Anu amilim v'hein amilim. Anu amilim mekablim sachar v'hein amilim v'einam mekablim sachar. Anu ratzim v'heim ratzim. Anu ratzim l'chai olam haba v'heim ratzim l'ver shachat shneimar. V'yata Elohim toridem l'ver shachat anshe damim u'mirma lo yechatzu yimehem v'ani eftach bach. Yihir etzal lefanecha Adonai Elohai. Kishem she'azartani l'sayem masecha chagiga kein ta'azreini l'hatchil masechtot u'sfarim acharim l'saymam. Lilmod l'lamed l'shmor v'lasot u'l'keim kol divrei tamud toratecha be'ava. U'zechut kol hatanaim v'amorim v'talmidei chachamim ya'amod li u'zari shelo tamusha Torah mipi u'mipi zari v'zer zari ad olam. V'tit kayem bi'i hitalechecha tanche otach v'shachbecha tishmor alecha v'hakitzota hi tisichecha. Ki bi yirbu yamecha v'yosifu lecha shnot chayim orech yamim v'mina bismola osher v'chavod Adonai oz l'moyitain Adonai yavarech l'mo shalom. Please rise. Yikadav yikadash merabah. V'yama dihu ati l'itchadata u'la'achaya meitaye u'la'asaka yaton l'chaye alma u'lemivnei kartad Yerushalayim u'leshachlala hechle begava u'leme'akar palchana nuchra'a min ara Atava palchana dishmaya la'atre v'yamlich kedusha brichu b'malchutei v'karei v'chayechon v'mechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'galav v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabban varach le'olam l'mei maya yiparach v'ishtabach v'yitbarach v'yidram v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'talash mei nekudshah brichu le'olam mikol b'chata v'shirata tushbkata v'nechmata damiram b'yamav v'imru amen. Al Yisrael v'al rabbanam v'al talmidehom v'al kol talmidehom v'al kol man da'askin b'araita di b'atar hadein di v'kol atar v'atar yehi l'chon l'chon l'sham arama china v'chista v'rachamin v'chayin arichin u'mizonei revichei v'parkana mi kadam avundi v'shmaya v'harav v'imru amen. Yehi shlamar amin shamayim v'chayim malini v'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'ramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Cohn, and I am the Long Island Outreach and Program Coordinator. Thank you all for joining us this evening. A few thank yous I would like to add in addition to who we mentioned earlier. Esther Zeidman, I don't know where you are. A very special thank you to you and your family who have always shown such a passion for this organization, which now has extended to your parents and even your parents' friends. We can't ever thank you enough. And to Naomi and Dorit, together with Esther, you have been a sounding board to me, and I couldn't do this without you. I would also like to thank the representatives who came here tonight from St. John's Episcopal Hospital. Hopefully this night will give you a small glimpse of what we do. I am often asked, what does Sharsheret do? The easy answer is anything breast and ovarian support and education. Tonight, I am proud to share with you a brief video giving you a clear picture of the programs and services we provide to thousands of Jewish women and families in our community and beyond.
I went for a routine mammography and ultrasound. Busy Friday morning, lots of errands planned for the day. Unfortunately, I didn't get to those errands. They came back in to tell me that they needed to do a biopsy.
The idea of the double mastectomy was something that I never really knew anything about. It was like an out-of-body experience. Me, Debbie, having, it was just ridiculous.
What is it like as a mother to deal with being BRCA positive and then having your 3 children be BRCA positive? Really, one of the toughest things I've ever gotten through in my life.
My mother was 41 at the time, and I was 13. And my parents said that they had to speak with the family, and they shared that my mother had just recently been diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer.
I myself have been living with metastatic disease for almost 17 years. I was diagnosed at 32. I never imagined I'd reach the ripe old age of 49, which isn't old, I'm joking. But I hope to get to my 50s, 60s, 70s. It's wonderful that we can reach out to Sharsheret and they can guide us.
Sharsheret is a community of support, information, and education. We provide support for women and families directly affected by breast cancer and ovarian cancer. We also educate the broader community about cancer risk and the measures you can take to protect your health.
It was through Sharsheret that I got someone's name who was about a month ahead of me in the process. She gave me information, what to expect, timing on how things would evolve.
The peer program is indispensable.
When I did find out that I had the BRCA gene, I remembered I really felt very alone at the time. And even though my mom and sister had it, my mom was 55 at the time when she decided to have all of her surgeries, and my sister had breast cancer. I couldn't really reach out to my family about it. I was able to find somebody who had had the BRCA gene and had surgery and was also in her 20s. And that really helped me make my decisions and helped me be less scared of what was my road ahead.
That type of support that somebody really needs in that initial helpless period, when you just need to grasp onto something and you need to know that it's going to be okay, and here is a whole network built specifically for that time.
Whether you realize it or not, you cannot do it alone.
We as patients and thrivers get overwhelmed initially in finding the best therapies and treatments, and we're busy with medical appointments. But it's just as important to get the emotional and psychosocial support that Sharsheret provides. Such an important and critical resource for Jewish women out there dealing with breast and ovarian cancer.
Sharsheret has developed a program, Embrace,
where women who are living with stage 4 breast cancer or ovarian cancer can really meet other women who are facing the same issues and share the same concerns. A lot of times people just think about Sharsheret as once you're diagnosed. In some cases, even around hereditary. But our experience has been is that people are really calling us even pre-screening.
In 2016, my family got an email from a first cousin. She was tested positive for the BRCA2 gene and that she was diagnosed, unfortunately, with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And it occurred to me at that moment, it wasn't so much about me, but I have 2 grown daughters, Tanya and Eliana, adult daughters with their own children, that they need to be tested.
Sharsheret is amazing in that they have genetic counselors on staff, they have social workers, and those are really things that are so valuable when you are going through your own journey.
And then when I did get Eliana's results, that's when everything shifted.
My surgery, it was September 7th, like 2 weeks right before Rosh Hashanah. I hopefully never have to get sick, and to have the opportunity to know the information and to do something about it, I just felt so lucky.
Our practice is right in line with Sharsheret's mission of trying to really educate about hereditary genetics. So having an awareness and a passion about educating about the importance of family history and genetics is really key to help cancer prevention.
It's really important for us to partner with the medical community.
We serve as a resource for Sharsheret so that they can reach out to us if there's something new that's come out in the field, some new medical information or treatment or diagnosis option out there.
I've written blogs. I've helped with answering patients' questions.
I feel comfortable referring a patient to Sharsheret because I know that they're going to have good support and good advice, and they're going to be working with extremely competent people, and that they'll be very well taken care of.
As a mother of a single daughter who was diagnosed with cancer, I became the primary caregiver. It was just part of my life then, to just be there for her, be able to get the things that she needed.
Sharsheret has developed a program specifically for family members and caregivers.
Their continued support is important for families, not just the people going through the surgeries, but for the caregivers, for the children.
Your emotions go from, what does this mean to the family? What does this mean for joy? What does this mean, quite honestly, selfishly, for me? And your range of emotions runs the gamut.
Soon after giving someone a diagnosis, usually within an hour, I have a husband, a mother, a sister, a brother, somebody comes in, and it's an entire family that is going to be dealing with this.
You don't always know what to say, where to put yourself. Sharsheret is really helpful in guiding you through supporting your family and your loved ones.
As a breast cancer survivor, having received support to be able to be a part of the Sharsheret network, to pay back and do that for others is tremendously empowering.
Sharsheret is the Hebrew word for chain, and it symbolizes the connections that Sharsheret makes within our community, because there is power in community.
Finding other people who are going through the same thing makes you feel like you're not by yourself.
We are a very large family. We didn't want to join this club, but since we're in it, we do provide that connectedness and feeling of a family helping each other out wherever we are in the country.
I was offering support to women and their families. And it was the first time in 25 years that I didn't feel isolated anymore.
Those people who helped me and who were so wonderful, now that's me. That was at a point where I think I stopped crying. I felt like, okay, I'm really here and now I'm helping somebody else.
I would like to recognize a special group of supporters, our Sharsheret Jewels, including those from Long Island. The Elephant family. Iris and Shalom Maidenbaum. Caraco Suits. Esther and Dr. Dov Zeidman. Sura and Bert Fried. Suzanne and Barry Gurvitch. Itella and Chaim Markovici. Melody and Martin Scharf. Dina and Seth Palevsky. Dr. Alana and Rafi Rossman. And the family of Sheila Sohn. This year, we have a unique opportunity from a private foundation in the Jewish community that will match your jewel gift 1 to 3, significantly increasing the impact of your gift. Please consider establishing or renewing your Sharsheret jewel and help us do what we do best, help women and families in need. Thank you for your support. Now, before I call up our very special guest speaker, I wanted to tell you that I had volunteered for this event for many years before I started working for Sharsheret last May. I had always thought it was a beautiful and inspiring evening, because it actually is. But when I started working here, I learned some life-saving information, and I wondered why we never made a point to mention this every year while we have over 400 people in the room. I do many outreach events, and whether there's 20 people there or 200 people there, someone always comes up to me at the end and says, wow, I didn't know that. So I made a promise to myself that I would never do an event again without sharing what I had learned while working at Sharsheret. Where we started as a link program, we've become so much more. As you saw in the video, a big part of what we do is outreach and education. We may not be doctors here on staff, but we do feel like sharing this knowledge is actually saving lives. For those of you who were at the YU Stern graduation this year, Ambassador David Freeman spoke, and he spoke about how he felt privileged that after a long, successful career, he was able to do something that he really loved and that can make a difference. I remember turning to my husband and saying, I'm just like David Friedman. I had a 15-year career in finance that I can now say I did not love, but now I feel privileged to work for a cause that I believe in and am passionate about. He, of course, thought I was crazy because I'm sure I didn't make the same money that David Friedman made, and I'm not the ambassador to Israel. So why am I telling all of you this? Because every single Sharsheret staff member feels the exact same way that I do. We put our hearts and souls into this job every single day, and we feel that it's a privilege to work here and to try to make a difference. No one more than our executive director, Alana Silber, who is here tonight. So when I bumped into Riva Goldschmiedt one Friday afternoon in Gourmet Glatt, yes, we still do business when we're in the supermarket, and she told me her story, I couldn't stop thinking about her for weeks. I knew her story, her personal story, would help save lives. A few months later, when Naomi Levinson approached her to ask her if she would like to speak, I knew she was hesitant. After all, this was so raw and new. But Riva, the courageous woman that she is, also knew that her story would help save a life. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that Riva and Suzanne were friends, but one morning I met them both for coffee, and I think they were both actually freaking each other out a little bit, which made me nervous because I never wanted anyone to do anything they were not comfortable with. But they both had the same exact attitude, that they knew bringing their friends and family here tonight was going to help someone. I do not have to give my normal genetic speech that I had promised myself I would do at every event, because it's Riva's personal story, and she touches upon everything I would usually say. While we share a lot of tears and sadness sometimes working at Sharsheret, we come across someone like Riva who is brave enough to share her personal story and become an inspiration to all of us. Please join me in welcoming Riva Goldschmiedt.
I don't want to fall off the stage before I start talking. Good evening and welcome to Sharsheret's annual barbecue. Hodu LaHashem ki tov, ki le'olam chasto. I would like to begin by expressing my hakarat hatov, my wholehearted appreciation to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for allowing me to be standing here in front of all of you as tonight's featured speaker. I would like to thank the host committee, the event committee, ambassadors, the honorary advisory board, and the Sharsheret board of directors. Thank you to Alana Silber, I don't know where you are, Ellen Kleinhaus, Rebecca Cohen, Dorit Schwartz, Esther Zeidman, and Naomi Levinson for encouraging me to tell my story in the hopes of bringing awareness and helping benefit this amazing organization, Sharsheret. Sharsheret, Hebrew for chain, was started to give support to young Jewish women with breast cancer or a genetic predisposition to it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two very special women who are sadly no longer with us, Rochelle Shoretz and Lisa Altman. Rochelle was Sharsheret's founder and leader who worked tirelessly to build Sharsheret as a support for women like herself going through breast cancer. Lisa served as co-chair of the very first luncheon 18 years ago while undergoing chemotherapy, taking care of her two small children while also helping to be a support to others going through cancer. Just knowing Lisa's family, she must have been a superwoman. I'm honored to be sharing this evening with my friend Suzanne and Barry Gurvitch, and I'm super impressed that my husband Ellie learned Masachet Chagiga in memory of Suzanne and Barry's mothers, Sandy Berkowitz and Ellin Gurvitch. May their beautiful neshamot have the highest aliyah. Tonight is also, as Ellie mentioned, the yahrzeit of his grandmother, Elizabeth Goldschmidt. So may the neshama of Lana Bat Yehuda HaKohen soar high into Shamayim. A few more quick thank yous and then I'll begin. Thank you to my mom and dad, Dr. Elliot and Evelyn Gelman, who have always encouraged me to follow my heart and have always told me how proud they are to be my parents. Thank you to my in-laws, my other mom and dad, Daniel and Cyril Goldschmidt, for always giving me their unwavering love and constant support. I also want to thank my husband, Ellie, for always making me laugh, even when he probably needed to cry. Thank you to my kids Charlie, Molly, and James, and my dog Jet, for rolling with the punches and for never letting me get away with being sick. Thank you to all of my siblings, my nieces and nephews for being there for us on a constant basis, and to all of my incredible friends for helping not only me, but for helping my family so much throughout this past year. Thank you to my team of doctors and nurses at Mount Sinai and Sloan Kettering, and to all those who got me to them. You know who you are. A special shout out to my second favorite OBGYN, my dad's an OBGYN, so it's my second favorite, Dr. Charlie Bacall, for his wisdom, foresight, and for grabbing the bull by the horns. He was a shaliach of Hashem, a messenger of God. He treated me like his own family, and the care I received from him in record time is unexplainable. To him, I am forever grateful. So here we go. A little over a year ago, on July 18th, 2018, in the blink of an eye, my life changed, and it changed big. Since the age of 40, I had been pretty diligent with my annual mammograms, and being the daughter of an OBGYN, no topic was ever off the table. I had been aware of my body and performed body checks as is always recommended. I've also never been shy about calling the doctor. Some might call that hypochondria, but I was just being aware. My kids had just left for camp, and I was looking forward to a quiet, uneventful summer. One day while changing, I noticed a tiny bump on my breast and at first disregarded it. But when I saw that it was still there after a few weeks' time, I decided I better go get it checked out. Since I was already taking the day off from work and had missed my mammogram the previous year, I tried to book an appointment for a mammogram that same day, but medical red tape did not allow for an appointment to be made until I saw my OBGYN and received a prescription. So on Monday, July 16th, I saw my doctor, my OBGYN. He assured me the bump was nothing. We reviewed my family history, and there was no data to support any worry or concern for the possibility of what would lie ahead. However, he saw and felt my worry of that little nothing being a possible something, so he managed to have the radiologist squeeze me in that day. That little bump, in fact, was just a tiny irrelevant cyst, completely unrelated to the tumors and calcifications the radiologist would soon find. But to me, it was my sign from heaven, a kiss from God, letting me know that something was going on. I went for a biopsy the following day, and that evening attended the Sharsheret barbecue to hear my friend Faggy Morgenstern tell her story. The room was packed, like tonight, and as survivors told their stories on the video screens, it felt like the room was moving in fast forward for everyone else, but for me, I was stuck on pause, like my world was moving in slow motion. I thought, this could be me. Deep in my gut, I knew that I was going to be another woman, another statistic of 1 in 8 to have breast cancer. And on the next day, Wednesday, July 18th, the radiologist called me at work and confirmed that the nodules they had found 2 days earlier were in fact 3 malignant tumors, and that I needed to find a breast surgeon immediately. I had breast cancer. Tears filled my eyes, my heart raced, but there was no time to waste being sad and depressed. I had a lot of work cut out for me. Phone calls to find the right doctors, MRIs, and genetic testing were on my agenda. 2 weeks later, on August 1st, 2018, the day before I met with my surgeon, the genetic testing results came back, and to my surprise, I found out that I had the BRCA2 mutation. Up until that point, I had absolutely no reason to believe I carried this mutation. No one else in my family had it. Now that I knew I had the BRCA2 mutation, I knew that I had to make a drastic decision, and so I opted for a bilateral mastectomy with a deep flap reconstruction, which in English means removing all breast tissue and reconstructing them using the fat from my stomach. Finally, the silver lining. I'd been trying to get rid of my first pregnancy belly fat for 20 years. Now I had my chance. MRIs of the abdomen, blood work, appointments with the plastic surgeon, nuclear injections to locate the lymph nodes that would need to be removed during my surgery are just some of the things women in my situation have to undergo. And so that is what I did. Yes, I will admit it, I was sad and scared, but I did my research, remained focused, kept a positive attitude, and most importantly, had the most amazing support system. My surgery was at Mount Sinai on Wednesday, August 15th. I was blessed to have Ellie by my side until the minute I went in for surgery. I walked the brightly lit halls to the operating room alongside a team of doctors. It didn't feel real. It actually felt like I was a character on ER or Grey's Anatomy. The room was cold and the music was blasting. They thought it was a party. a 10-hour surgery, and the team of talented doctors and nurses at Mount Sinai took great care of me. 5 days in the hospital, and then I was able to go home. Honestly, the next 10 weeks were very tough. We don't realize, but we all do it. We take life for granted. We don't appreciate the little things like being able to take a dish out of the cabinet, fill a pot to boil water, take a shower or wash your own hair, drive a car. This bump in my road made me appreciate these things so much. The outpouring of love, the text, the calls, visits, flowers, gifts, foods, tons and tons of food. I was finally skinny. It took a diagnosis of breast cancer and a double mastectomy, but I finally lost those 20 unwanted pounds, and family would not stop delivering food. It was nuts. Side note, it was also nuts that I no longer had to wear a bra. In all seriousness, my parents were so confused with the results of my genetic testing and that I carried the BRCA2 mutation, so they were advised to both get tested. Within 2 weeks' time, the results came back, and my father, yes, my father, tested BRCA2 positive. Growing up, whenever me or my dad would do something to annoy my mom, she would look at us and say, "You and your father are like peanut butter and jelly. You two stick together like glue. You're like 2 peas in a pod." Well, I guess we really are. I joked with my dad that it wasn't enough that I was the only Gelman child to have gotten acne and a big tuchus from him. Now I also got the BRCA gene? Come on, seriously. Couldn't I have at least gotten your photographic memory? A little research, and we ended up learning that my father's grandmother had had breast cancer in 1950 and had her left breast removed, and Baruch Hashem, she lived past her 80s, and that her mother, my great-great-grandmother, unfortunately passed away from breast cancer in 1902. It was such a shock to find out that so many of my family members had breast cancer, but with today's technology, now I knew that they must have all carried the BRCA2 mutation. Just to make you feel a little more informed, everyone has the BRCA1 and 2 gene, just not everyone has the mutation. Statistically, 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime. That's a 12% chance of getting breast cancer. 1 in 400 people in the United States have the BRCA mutation. However, amongst Ashkenazi Jews, 1 in 40 have the BRCA mutation. So clearly, it is extremely prevalent in the Jewish circles. After my last chemo on January 31st, I needed a few weeks to recoup, but then it was back to the hospital for another smaller surgery upon the advice of my doctors to remove my ovaries and fallopian tubes, since having the BRCA2 mutation dramatically increases the risk of ovarian cancer. Thankfully, that went very smoothly, and now I could start my 5 weeks of radiation treatment. On April 15th, I finished my last of the 25 rounds of radiation. So here I am today, standing here in front of all of you, gained the 20 pounds back, by the way, telling my story. My take, if I could get through this, anyone can. From day 1 until my last day of radiation treatment was exactly 9 months, a full 40 weeks, the same amount of time it takes for a baby to grow and emerge from its mother's womb and be considered full term. This was the same amount of time it took me to discover my cancer, have it treated, and conquer it. So what to do now? Well, if I can impart any wisdom from my life experience over the past year, it would be the following. My 8 cancer keys to success. 1, be diligent about body checks and mammograms. Feel for lumps and save your bumps. It's so important. If you don't check yourself, you must start. If you need a mammogram and have been pushing it off, call for an appointment tomorrow. 2, know your family's medical history, and if you don't know it, ask questions to learn more about it. I had no idea about my family's history. Knowledge is power, so do some research and become educated. 3, most people think men don't get breast cancer, don't have the BRCA mutation, and don't need mammograms. This is a huge misconception. It does happen. Men have a 50% chance of having the BRCA mutation, just like women, and if they have it, they do need mammograms. Also, having the BRCA mutation increases the risk of pancreatic, melanoma, and prostate cancers as well. 4, it's also vital to get a few opinions. Don't rely on just one doctor's opinion. When it came time to discuss my treatment, if any, I was told by one doctor that I needed chemotherapy, the type of chemo I needed, and how many times I needed it. I didn't stop there. I went to 2 more hospitals and met with reputable doctors to get additional opinions. Thankfully, they all agreed on the type of chemo I had needed, and the regimens were identical amongst all 3 opinions. That put me in a great position to choose who I felt most confident in and comfortable with to oversee my care. 5, have a close support system. I was so fortunate. My support system was tremendous and gave me a lot of strength. My amazing family, my incredible friends, my besties, and all of my new breasties. You know who you are. The outpouring of love was overwhelming, and I'm so appreciative and can't thank you enough for all of your prayers, tehillim, love, and support. 6, research ways to make your treatment easier and less traumatizing. As Billy Crystal used to say, it's better to look good than to feel good. So if it is an option, as it was for me, look into things like scalp cooling, also known as cold caps. This is a special cap that registers at 37 degrees, goes on your head an hour before chemo, stays on while the chemo is being administered, and remains on the head for an hour and a half after the chemo is complete. It freezes the hair follicles so that you don't lose your hair. Although it didn't work 100% for me, it saved about 40% of my hair and left me feeling less depressed than I may have been had I lost all of it. Having spoken to Alana Silber at Sharsheret about the cold caps and my experience, Sharsheret hopes to create a program in the future which takes care of the financials and enables women and men to utilize these cold caps while undergoing treatment. 7, read articles, go to cancer awareness lectures, and reach out to Sharsheret for support. At the start of my journey with breast cancer, I put a call into Sharsheret and received a call back from a social worker almost immediately. I asked her questions about doctors and the different types of chemo, and also asked if I could be connected to someone who was going through exactly what I was going through. And within a day or so, a woman from across the country reached out to me and we discussed our cases. She was so helpful and offered me words of encouragement. Lastly, 8, stay positive and have hope and faith. Without emunah, life can get depressing. With it, life is a blessing. To end off, I heard an amazing lecture that really hit home. It discusses the words from Hallel. Odecha ki ani sani v'atihi li lishua. I give thanks to you, the Ribono Shel Olam, because you made me struggle, because that struggle freed me. It freed me to work on being an authentic Jew, a more authentic person, a more authentic wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. This struggle brought me closer to Hashem, and it inspires me each day. Even masu habonim haytal rosh pina. The builders come to build, and there's a huge rock in the way. The builders hate this rock because it prevents them from building until they realize that they can build right on that rock. The rocks that I thought were in my way, they weren't in the way. They are my way. Me'et Hashem haytazot hi niflaot be'einenu. When you finally open your eyes, it's miraculous. Zeh hayom asa Hashem. The day you realize Hashem did this for you, nagila v'nismecha bo. You will get up and dance. We need to remember, especially now as we near Tisha B'Av, everyone has rocks in their lives. These rocks that are our problems are not in our way. They are our way. May we all strive to be closer to Hashem and see the coming of Mashiach b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Riva, for sharing your personal story. On behalf of Sharsheret, please accept this gift as a token of appreciation for the incredible contributions you have made to Sharsheret. Thank you so much. And I would also like to call up Suzanne and Barry Gurvitch back to the stage, you can put it in the back, to present them with this gift as a token of our appreciation for letting us commemorate the memory of their mothers with the beautiful Siyum led by Ellie. That's for you also. Thank you all for coming. And if any of you would like to speak to someone about a jewel gift, please see Galit Reichland, Director of Development, or Alana Silber, Executive Director, who are here tonight. Thank you all for your support and have a good night. The dessert reception is now in where the buffet food was before. Please enjoy.